Strength and conditioning coach Bennie Wylie asked the team 3 questions the other day.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day, whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you want to download your podcast. Never forget the show is free, and always remember how much I appreciate your support. If you're watching on YouTube, show your appreciation. Become a subscriber, smash that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button. New customers, join today, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. 3 words that are commonly associated with football: toughness, discipline, accountability. Bennie Wylie, strength and conditioning coordinator for the USC football team, he asked his players these 3 questions. Are you disciplined? Are you accountable? Are you tough? Discipline, accountability, toughness. As far as I'm concerned, as a former high school basketball coach, those questions come with black and white answers. There's no gray area. It's either yes or no. There's no answer with I'll try. Look, you either are or you aren't to any of those 3 questions. And coaches, they'll try and instill discipline in a variety of ways. And then they'll look for discipline's side effects, because that's what accountability and toughness does. It's you being disciplined, and that makes you accountable, and that makes you tough. Discipline is literally, and this is how I used to talk to my players, it's being able to hold yourself responsible for your own actions, and that way, or actually the lack thereof as well. Because when you make a commitment without anybody else holding you accountable, that's how you learn to be disciplined. And then when you're disciplined, someone else doesn't have to hold you accountable. You get to hold somebody else accountable now. That's called accountability. Being accountable to yourself, that has consequences. If you don't follow through, something can happen, but that mostly affects you. I think the definition of accountability is being held responsible for your actions or the lack of by someone else, by your teammates. It means, again, if you're making a commitment to someone else, you're basically reporting your progress to your teammates. Like I said, if you're on a team, your actions will be your report card. They'll let you know if you are or if you're not being accountable. When your team, holds you to those standards, hold you accountable, you're more likely to follow through on your own commitments. Being disciplined and accountable, it's like a drug. And if you're an athlete, you need those things to be successful. Bennie Wylie posed those questions to the team during the offseason. This is the most important season. It's the offseason. Look, I know what happens once they kick off against LSU. That's going to matter. But what they're doing right now matters more, because that's going to tell us what happens in the fall. Again, you want to be disciplined. You want to be accountable as an athlete, because you want to get that culture established inside the locker room, because then the coaches can take over and they can start developing the technique. That's where coaching kind of really seeps into every pore of the players that are on the roster. Once you've got the culture established, where everybody knows discipline is a core value, accountability is a core value, toughness is a residual of those core values. Once that's been established, then Lincoln Riley and the coaching staff he's put together can really, show why they're worth the money that's being spent on them. great athletes, I guess they're addicted to discipline and accountability. Think of, Kobe Bryant, the Mamba. I mean, he was one of the most disciplined and accountable. He held himself to such a high standard that nobody else could be tougher on him. He was his toughest critic. When I was coaching, and even when I was, playing high school, sports, growing up, I know how I viewed players who were disciplined and accountable. Mostly from a coach's perspective. When I saw those two attributes, I was looking for the guys who were tougher on themselves than they were on their teammates. Because I know if they held themselves to that high standard, then I knew I can count on them. They'll pull their teammates across the finish line. Again, when you're tough on yourself, life just gets easier, right? When you set that standard, you keep making things harder. Eventually, things get easier. Some of you might know what I mean when you hear prep, not hype. Remember that? That was a team motto, team credo when Lane Kiffin was the head coach. And now Eric Henderson, he's come over from the LA Rams and he brought over hashtag dog work. Well, that hashtag, it's synonymous with the three questions that Bennie Wylie asked the team before they did their workout on the sand at the beach. Discipline, attitude, work ethic, grit, DAWG. All of this adds up and translates to the exact same thing. Grit equals toughness. Accountability is what? All about attitude and work ethic. Talked about discipline. I think that speaks for itself. This offseason is the most important season for USC. You can say that you can say that last year, you can say that, next year as well. But everything that's been going on this offseason, because everybody's got that anticipation looking forward to what the defense could be. You're going to have a pretty potent offense as long as Lincoln Riley's calling the plays. The fans, they're going to hold the coaches and the team accountable when they line up against LSU. They're going to know if they put in the work when no one was looking. The offseason is when the team needs to be tough, disciplined, accountable to each other. And, Bennie Wylie right now, he's the guy holding everyone accountable. He's the boss. He's large Marge in charge. So, Bennie Wylie, look, I remember when he was asked, on the Trojans Live radio show, this was earlier in the year, he said, look, tell me what you want, and I will get you there. So I think everyone is on the same page now. I kind of get the impression that there was a little bit of push and pull of how to prepare the team. Well, we know they want to get bigger, they want to get stronger, they want to get faster. They're recruiting a different type of player moving into the big conference. So here we go. We'll see what this team looks like coming out of winter workouts, winter conditioning. Spring camp will be here sooner rather than later. And we're going to see who has been disciplined, who's been accountable, and who's tough. Because I'm looking forward to what this team looks like once spring camp arrives. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about just finding the best seat on the couch, getting a bunch of chips, some dip, some food, some beverages, and leave me alone. It's my holiday. It's my football holiday, right? And then I'm going to watch the commercials. I'm just going to have a really good day. And I think if I have to pick a winner, gun to head, I'm picking the 49ers. And as a I used to be a longtime Rams fan, it still hurts to say the 49ers are going to win. But FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W. And if you want to maybe parlay that into 2 wins or 3 wins, well, Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58 at FanDuel, FanDuel also has a bunch of ways you can bet, like which players are going to score a touchdown, how many points are going to be scored, a whole bunch of different prop bets you can check out over there on FanDuel. New customers, just visit fanduel.com/locked on. And if you join today, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. So make every moment more. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and that's fanduel.com/locked on. All right. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. In this segment, I've labeled it Step Up or Step Off. A little harsh, huh? Which players in 2024 need to step up or step off? Step aside. You've had your turn. It's now somebody else's time. In other words, who needs to kind of seize the moment? And who needs, like I said, who needs to say, hey, you know what? It's your turn. And I'm not sure I like predicting which players won't do well. I'm going to play with this one a little bit. Again, I hope every single player that USC has on their roster has a shining moment, gets a chance to play. But look, let's be real. Life isn't fair, and someone's better than you. Someone's better than me. So, I guess there's evidence to support that we should at least have this discussion. Some players have been around long enough, and I understand that they might have been handicapped if they played on the defensive side of the ball. Nevertheless, I'm just going to pick some random names going down the roster, and then kind of give a little line or two. And you agree or disagree with they need to step up, or they will step up, or they need to step off. Let's start with Anthony Lucas. Look, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, this is the year he needs to step up. I think otherwise he's going to get the Corey Foreman tag. He had maturity issues at Texas A&M. That's why he left. And he was supposed to be the dude last year for USC. We heard rave reviews out of spring camp. And then didn't see any of that really appear during the season. He's going into his junior season in college. When you are as highly rated and you come from the transfer portal and you have a lot of expectations, this is your step up year. Because if you're not making that move this spring and impressing Antonlynn, you're probably going to be asked to step off. We're going to see if Alex Grinch was the issue. Because, look, if Eric Henderson, if he can't get the best out of you, then it's a you problem. It's not a coaching problem. What about the name Anthony Beavers Jr.? Look, he's confident. He plays violent. I love what I saw in the Holiday Bowl. He's going to be one of the more experienced guys in the safety room on the roster. With that said, they're bringing in a couple experienced guys from the transfer portal. You've got Kamari Ramsey from UCLA, who Antonlynn knows. And you've got Achille Arnold from Oregon State, all Pac-12 conference player. This one I'm not so sure about because injuries play a role here. What about redshirt sophomore Zion Branch? He's got some big shoes to fill. Kalen Bullock is gone. He's the big brother to Zachariah Branch, who plays on offense and special teams. So, again, will Zion step up or will he need to step aside because injuries keep derailing his career? It's kind of like another, I hope not. I hope he doesn't end up being another Solomon Tuliaupupu. So much talent, but always injured. And that's just the reality of football. So let's hope that he has a healthy season. He deserves it. Go to Solo. Here's another safety. Experience. Bryson Shaw. Look, he doesn't have to defend his guy Alex Grinch anymore. I'd never want to see him put in that situation where he has to come out, even if he volunteered to come out. I think he needs to step up in 2024. Redshirt senior. I saw he put a video out on social media. He was climbing a hill from the ocean to the top out there at Malibu Canyon. I think he even said he might have been chased by a mountain lion. Dude's putting in the work in the offseason. I think he's mentally tough. I think he's going to have a really good season. Again, because I think what Antonlynn and Doug Belk, his new position coach, and Taylor Mays, I think we're going to see Bryson Shaw have a great final campaign at USC. What about senior to be linebacker? I'm going to talk about a few linebackers here, but what about Rajon Davis? Is he going to be a linebacker at USC after the spring? What about Mason Cobb? He's coming back. Well, USC hit the transfer portal for another linebacker, middle linebacker, Easton Mascarenas Arnold, Oregon State, all Pac conference level player. Got another senior linebacker, Eric Gentry. What about Garrison Madden? I think this will be his third year at USC coming up. A lot of question marks at that linebacker level. Who's going to step up? And don't forget, the only linebacker they brought in last year that they recruited, Tekka Curtis, he's now at Wisconsin. He's not even with the program anymore. Is Traquan Fagans going to step up and play opposite of Jacoby Covington at cornerback? Or is John Humphreys from UCLA, the transfer, is he going to step up and take it? You got Prophet Brown. Is he going to step up? I love what Jacoby and Prophet showed in the Holiday Bowl. Jacoby Covington, I think, has locked down one of the spots. Get up to the defensive line. Devin Tompkins, 6'5", redshirt sophomore. Does he need to make his presence known? I know when he came in, he was kind of a project. Lincoln Riley kept him. He liked what he saw. I like what I saw last year. His body really developed. Looking forward to see what it looks like now. But I think at this point, going into your third year, you have to step up. Or with the caliber of player USC has been recruiting lately, you might not have a spot. You might get passed up. So Devin Tompkins, he needs to step up. Or look, Braylon Shelby was already playing ahead of him last year as a true freshman. And you have guys behind him who were injured, like David Peavy, I should say. A lot of players. And look, you saw who USC is recruiting during this offseason. Cameron Fountain, big top 10 edge player. How much rope does Lincoln Riley give Dennis Lynch in 2024? I did that. I went there. Probably shouldn't have, but it was a layup. Look, Dennis had a really rough 2023. Does he step up, or is he going to be kicked to the side? It's Tyler Robles in his shoes. Is he going to be the kicker in 2024? This is one guy who must step up. It's not really a question. It has to happen. Because I haven't seen USC hit the transfer portal bringing in a legit elite left tackle, Elijah Page. I know he's only going to be a true sophomore. Still, if you want Miller Moss to be successful, and I have zero doubt that he will be, then make his blind side stress-free. I saw enough of Elijah Page last year to know that He's being groomed for that spot. I know who he followed around like a puppy, which offensive lineman, picking their brains. I think he's going to step up. Mason Murphy. Look, he has to step up, or otherwise it's time to move on. I'm just being honest. And I love Mason Murphy. I've been watching him develop during the offseason, going back to his Giant Skills days with Chris Talimavo. I know what Mason's capable of. He is your prototypical offensive tackle. He just has moments where he doesn't concentrate. He loses focus. This is it. Lock down that right tackle spot. There's so much potential here. He just needs to put it all together this season. All right, so there's just some names that I want to throw out there that need to step up or step off. There's a lot of others. Hit me up in the comments section. If you're on YouTube, you know where to hit me up. Let me know who needs to step up or who needs to step off. Tell me if I was wrong on some of these, on some of these players. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. So before I tell you why Joey Olsen is my favorite class of 2024 Recruit of the Week, I would be remiss if I didn't update a couple of things. I see all of your comments. Don't necessarily agree with all of them, but I see them all. So the women's hoops team that I have not seen in person one time this year, well, they swept Stanford. They swept the Bay Area team. They swept Stanford. Number 4, Stanford Cardinal, Juju Watkins. She had 51 points in that game. USC as a team scored 67. Yeah, that'll get it done. So there you go. I mentioned women's hoops. Listen, I get in trouble on this show when I spend a segment on the men. So don't anticipate too much women's hoop talk here. One, because I'd be a hypocrite since I don't watch the team. I'm a man of principle. I stand behind what I talk about. Doesn't mean I don't support the women's hoops team and all their success. If I haven't watched it, I'm not going to talk about them. So there you go. Juju, the number 1 high school recruit in the country, came to USC. She's showing why. And look, if you're looking for a USC basketball team to go into the postseason, follow women's hoops. They're going. The men's team, they're not. So, you satisfied? All right, back to football recruiting. I want one more thing before I get to Joey. Juju Lewis. Sticking around with Juju. He took a visit to Georgia over the weekend, and it didn't go great. When he went to go pick up his car at the airport when the weekend was over, the car was gone. It was stolen. I'm not laughing at Juju. I'm just laughing because, USC gets accused of being in a bad neighborhood. Well, oh well. I really hope they didn't use that talking point on his trip. This is what Juju said afterwards. I'm still committed to USC, and I'm kind of taking my final tours before I close the thing out and kind of trying to see the last little things that are going on. I'm still solid with USC right now, end quote. I am starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with Juju sticking with his commitment, even if he decides to finish his high school football career in the state of Georgia. I get it. He's been to Athens, 12 or 13 times. He'll be spending plenty of time during the offseason on the West Coast working out. And Lincoln Riley and USC will do everything in their power to make sure that Juju is enrolled early in 2025. So I would give one message to Juju Lewis. Next time you head down to Athens, drive your car. Don't leave it at the airport. All right. Why is Joey Olsen my favorite recruit of the week from the class of 2024? Well, let me tell you why. Number one, mostly because he has been committed to USC longer than anyone in his class. He committed to USC back in September of 2022. And that was it. It was done. He said, recruiting process, I get to focus now on my final 2 years of high school, his junior and senior year. He never wavered. He just quietly went about his business, finished his high school career. 6'5", 220 pounds, probably north of 220 now. He's from Lake Oswego, Oregon, played at Lake Ridge High School. When I look at him and I watch his game, very similar to what Jude Wolf brought to the table when he came to USC. In his senior season at Lake Ridge High School, Joey caught 36 passes, 650 yards, and 11 touchdowns. All those numbers were his best in his 4 years of high school. In 36 games that he played, 118 catches, 2,302 yards, and 31 touchdowns. So very productive. And as I mentioned, he's been committed since the start of his junior season. It's a long time. And he's already enrolled at USC. He's taking part in winter workouts. So he got that weight off his shoulders, and he was just able to focus on school, high school, having fun, and then getting ready to enroll early. And that's what he did. He accomplished that goal. He was disciplined, he was accountable, and he showed some toughness. This is what he said about his early commitment and wanting, being able to enroll early at USC. When he committed to USC back in 2022, he spoke with KOIN. It's a local TV affiliate up in Oregon. He said, honestly, once I got the offer, it just felt right. All the tradition throughout so many years of great USC football, you can feel it. And you can feel it in the people who are there and the coaching staff and the players. You can feel it radiating throughout, and they know they're building something special there. Remember, he said this back in July of 2022, before USC won 11 games. And well before Lincoln Riley turned into a defense-first coach. Now, I love to find the feel-good stuff, go behind the scenes, kind of what makes the player a real person. This is what Joey's head coach in high school said. His name's Spencer Phillips. He said he met Joey in 8th grade and instantly knew Joey was a special, not only as a player, but as a person. The thing that his head coach is most proud of, quote, the way that he's done it the right way. He always puts his teammates first. He's always encouraging his teammates. He always tries to bring someone along with him. It's a blessing when your best player is your hardest worker. So to see him grow up and mature, not just on the field, but as a person, has been the most rewarding thing. Remember when I was talking about accountability? Hello, Joey. Maybe the highest compliment a coach can bestow on a player, this is what his high school coach said. I kind of miss him already. I've got 2 more seasons with him, but you just wish you had more kids who really were as good of a teammate as him. Wow. Okay. Again, when a coach talks about a player in that type of esteem, you're up there. That's the type of character that Coach Riley is trying to build a culture around. I mean, that's team captain material that I just described. So now I think you know why Joey Olsen was my favorite recruit of the week from the class of 2024. I will have another favorite recruit of the week later this week on Locked on USC, as well as some more recruiting information. By the way, if you're watching this episode of Locked on USC, part of the Locked on Network, first thing, tomorrow is National Intent Signing Day, the February National Signing Day. I think USC is going to have 2 guys. So until then, and until the next episode of Locked on USC, everyone, you know what to do.